Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Shut Up and Read. Today I'll be doing my October TBR. So I have not been doing any monthly TBRs in a very long time. This entire year I've been doing bi-monthly, but I feel like it was just 2020 has not been a good year. I feel like that is an understatement of the year. I haven't been really reading, haven't been very productive in terms of like booktube, book blogging, all that stuff. So I kind of held off on doing any TBR for September, just trying to like catch up on my reading. But for October, I want to join Spooktober. So I thought I would just jump on, do a TBR for it, as well as some of the other books I plan to read. But my primary goal for October is to join Spooktober. So I will include the readathon information down below in case you want to join as well. So as always, I have all the details on my phone here. So I'm just going to go through the list in terms of reading challenges. In total, there are 20 challenges. You don't really need to do all 20 of them. It's completely up to you. And from what I understand, it's kind of like they have different categories, like 4 different categories, and you can kind of pick based on your mood, I guess, or like what you want to do for the Halloween party, because that's kind of the theme for this year. So it is the Spooktober Halloween party. It lasts for the entire month of October, and there are 4 categories. The first one is costume party, then it's refreshments, dance floor playlist, and finally festivities. And as you go through each category, there are different types of prompts for you guys to pick. It's a very informal readathon, so it's not very strict at all, which is nice, which is exactly what I need for October. But yeah, I'm really excited to kind of read some of the spooky-ish books. But honestly, like my TBR is not very spooky. But yeah, let's just kind of go through which books I plan to read for each prompt. So the first category over here is costume party, and then there are 5 choices. There is scary costume, silly costume, fantasy costume, couples costume, or a besties costume. So for me, I actually went for a couples costume just because I wanted to read a romance, and that's kind of the prompt for this one. So for this prompt, I decided to go with Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. All I know is that it's about this girl who I guess like meets this guy who happens to be one of her like childhood crushes. Like he used to be a famous actor. Well, I don't know if she was a child at the time. She was like a teenager, like a teenage crush. And when she suddenly meets him, she kind of like goes all fangirly and, you know, gets kind of embarrassing. But he is like super chill about it, and of course like things kind of ensues from there. There's romance in here obviously, and not only that, but the guy needs her help because he is now the guardian to his 13-year-old sister, and he is in way over his head. So I guess he kind of like asked her for help or something. I have no idea, but I have heard some mixed reviews about this book. This book I've been on TBR for a while as well, so I kind of want to pick this up. And I don't know, I feel like, I know October is all about spooky reads, but I also want to read some other non-spooky reads. So I think the way how I'm going to do this, because the prompts are kind of all over the place, I will actually try to jump around with the prompt, because this will also fulfill another prompt that I want to do, and that is part of the refreshment prompt. It's Mrs. Lovett's Meat Pie. It says, a book with a character you think will be unlikable. For some reason, I feel like I've read reviews about this book that has been mixed reviews and unlikable characters. I don't really know who exactly is unlikable. I don't really know the specifics or the details, but that's what I've heard. So I kind of picked it for this book. I don't know, we'll see guys. I really don't know what to expect, but yeah, anyways, this is the first book on my TBR. Okay, so now that I did the first refreshment, let's just kind of go through the other refreshments, because there are other stuff in here that I want to read. So the options are Punch Bowl, Eyeball Soup, Mrs. Lovett's Meat Pie, which is I already did, Devil's Food Cake, as well as Candy Bowl. So I think I actually picked a lot of ones in here because I was like, I want to do them all. So the next one that I want to pick is Punch Bowl, which is to read a book with a character who fights. So for this one, I'm gonna go with Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare. Obviously there's gonna be a lot of fighting in here. It's part of the Shadowhunters world. It follows Alec and Magnus Bane and kind of their adventures while they're in, I want to say Paris specifically, but somewhere in Europe during one of the books in the original City of Glass series. That's all I really remember about this book, but that's kind of where this trilogy or this series takes place. And of course, being a Shadowhunter world, Shadowhunter book, there's going to be fighting involved in here. So that would definitely fulfill this prompt, and I'm really excited because I really ship the couple. So yeah, I wanted to be more about the two of them. And not only will this book fulfill that prompt, they will fulfill 2 other prompts on here. So okay, so like I feel like I'm kind of all over the place with this because the way how the prompts work is kind of all over the place as well, and my brain is honestly very scattered. But anyways, this will also fulfill a monster mash, which is part of the dance floor playlist because it is a book with monsters. I mean, there's definitely monster beings in here, you know, like for sure. So that would definitely fulfill this prompt as well. And not only that, but it also fulfilled the fantasy costume prompt, which is to read a book, the fantasy book. Like this will definitely fulfill that as well. It's like urban fantasy. So yeah, this will definitely fulfill a number of prompts. Then the next prompt that I want to do under refreshments is the eyeball soup, which is read a book that you can't stop eyeballing. This one for the most part is supposed to be like a beautiful cover, and while this is a beautiful cover, I feel like the reason why I'm eyeballing this is because this has been on my TBR for months now, and every time I look at it, it's been eyeballing me because it's like, Stephanie, you still haven't read this book yet, like what are you doing for your life? So yeah, I'm going to try to read it again this month, like hopefully guys. And that is The Night Tiger by Yang Si Chu. All I know is that this is set in Malaysia in the 1930s. It's colonial Malaysia, and it has some sort of like age-old superstition and modern idealism, sibling rivalry, and forbidden love. I really enjoyed her other book, so I have pretty high hopes for this one as well. The next refreshment prompt that I want to do is Devil's Food Cake, and that is to read a book with a black cover. So for this one, I want to go with Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. This is another one that has been in my TBR for a very long time as well. I heard so many good things, so I really do want to read this before the end of the year. Like that is kind of my goal, so hopefully I'll read it this month. Like that's, yeah, I feel like I don't really have that many books on here total, so it's possible, but like honestly my reading for the past few months has been, for this whole year really has not been very good. So all I know this one is about like these twin brothers or twin sons, and the dad wants to somehow turn them into gods. That's like literally all I know about this book, but I've heard amazing things and I definitely cannot wait. Then the next refreshment prompt that I want to do is Candy Bowl, and that is to read a novella or a graphic novel. So for this one, I'm going to go with this one over here, which is You Brought Me the Ocean by Alex Sanchez and Julie Merrill. And this book definitely has some sort of like DC superhero supernatural power kind of thing, because it follows a guy called Jake who has secrets, and that includes the strange blue markings on his skin that glows whenever it comes in contact with water. He's also attracted to Kenny Liu, the swim team captain, and rebels against conformity. I don't know, this book has a lot of things related in here for sure, so I'm really intrigued. But yeah, other than that though, I really don't know what to expect with this book, but yeah, I definitely cannot wait to read this. Moving on to the next category, and that is dance floor playlist, and that includes Monster Mash, I Put a Spell on You, Time Warp, Superstition, and Thriller. I already talked about my Monster Mash book that I want to read, so I'm going to move on to the other ones. So the first prompt that I want to do is Thriller, and that is to read a thriller. This one's going to be Dead Simple by Peter James. So this book sounds super intriguing. It says over here, it was meant to be a harmless stag night prank. A few hours later, Michael Harrison has disappeared and 4 of his friends are found dead. What happens is that like he had a prank where he was supposed to like be buried alive, I want to say, by his friends, and they were supposed to like do, I don't know, that's sort of prank that happened, but then they like end up leaving the scene and they end up dying in a car crash, and then of course like he is dead because like his friends who pranked him never came back to like take him out. So yeah, and it follows a guy, his name is Detective Superintendent Roy Grace, and I guess he is kind of the man in charge of this whole mystery and finding out what actually happened. And it says over here that he has a lot more to gain than anyone realizes, for one man's disaster is another man's fortune. And this is the first one in the series that is supposed to be like really popular, but yeah, I've definitely had this book for a really long time that it's kind of yellow actually, so I don't know, but we'll see. But this book sounds really intriguing, and I'm going to see if I can try to pick any of these books as audio, because I feel like I'm reading that or listening to that format a lot faster than anything else right now. So it seems the most like safe option right now for me to like get through the books I want to read. Anyways, moving on to the next prompt here, and that is I Put a Spell on You, and that is a book with magic. So for this one, I am going to read Enchante by Gita Trellis. So this book is set in the, I don't remember exactly when this was set, but it was set in Paris, and it's the glittering court of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. So I'm guessing like sometime around that time period, which I want to say 17th century Paris, but I could be wrong. And I know that this book has magic in it because the girl can actually like change gold, like she can somehow, what could she do exactly? She can turn scraps of metal into money to buy food and medicine when they need. So there's definitely some magic involved in here, so that definitely fits the prompt for that. And other than that, I know this book has something to do with the revolution. Like, that's all I know. So around the French Revolution time period, I think. And then this book will fulfill 2 more prompts. The first one is another dance floor playlist prompt, and that is Time Warp, which is a book set in a different time period. And of course, this book is set in the 17th century, like I said already. It's definitely historical France, Paris. So yeah, that really fits that prompt. And the other prompt that it fulfills as well is to carve a jack-o'-lantern, which is part of the festivities prompt, and that is to read a book with a face on the cover. Well, there's definitely a face on the cover here. It's kind of like blocked out like her eyes, but that is a face. Okay guys, so moving on to the final categories, and that is the festivities category. So there are 5 prompts for this one as well. The first one is carve jack-o'-lanterns, which I already discussed. Then is bob for apples, Ouija board, hang out with the pets, and finally trick or treat. So those are all the books that I plan to read for Spooktober. Then I have a few more books on the side that I would like to read as well. The first one over here is the Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. I've been trying to read this book for a while now, and I wanted this book for a different reason, like a different secret TBR in a way, which you guys will find out in the near future. So I would like to read this before it gets too late. And all I know is that this is a rom-com. It's about this girl who has Asperger's, and she ends up hiring a escort called Michael Fan to like give her some practice with, I want to say, the dating department, and of course like romance ensues. I've heard some like, I don't want to say like bad things, but like some what's that word, like problematic content for this book. I don't remember what they are exactly, or like if it's like a huge issue, but I've heard that there's something with this book. But I've also heard some amazing cute things about this book, so I don't know where I'll fall and what I think about it. But yeah, this is definitely one of the books I want to read. The next one that I want to read is also like in line with the whole like October being spooky, and that is The Other Girl by Erica Spindler. And this is just a thriller mystery novel, so I feel like that fits the theme. I feel like I haven't really picked that many that's like mystery thriller. I have like one on here and that's it. So I kind of want to pick another one just to put me more in like the October moods, I guess. And the last one that I want to read as well is also the whole mystery thriller, because I feel like like I said already, haven't really picked that many. This will be my third and only mystery thrillers that I want to read for this month, and that is Before She Knew Him by Peter Swanson. All I know is that this one is a tale of a young suburban wife with a history of psychological instability whose fears about her new neighbor could lead them both to murder. I don't know guys, but I've heard some amazing things about this author, period, and I don't think I've read any books by this author. So I think this will be the first one, which I'm very intrigued and find out like why everyone loves him so much, and just like kind of hopefully fall in love with his writing. So anyways, that is it in terms of my TBR for October. Let me know down below if you'll be joining October, and if you are, which books will you be reading. If you have read any of the books that I have mentioned on here, let me know down below if you enjoyed them or not. If you're not doing Spooktober but you're doing other readathons, let me know down below as well. I'm always curious to find out what other readathons are happening. But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.